Back in the wine cellar, Wobin and Sunjin walked around calling out for Minsu and Yuna, but received no response. They heard someone locking the door and quickly rushed to the entrance, demanding to be let out. The waiter apologized and explained that their partners had instructed him not to let them out until they had talked things out. Wobin and Sunjin looked at each other, realizing they had been tricked. They walked back in and stood in silence, awkwardly facing each other. Wobin broke the silence and looked at Sunjin. He apologized for not being a good friend and admitted that it was inappropriate for him to openly display feelings for Sunjin's wife. He acknowledged that his actions did not reflect loyalty or true friendship. He added that he had wanted to deal with his emotions on his own, but another friend had revealed the truth, even though he never planned to say anything himself. Sunjin quickly interrupted, taking the blame upon himself. He said he had misunderstood Wobin from the beginning and assumed he was being selfish about his feelings for Minsu, even though he knew she was with him. He added that if he had known Wobin had met Minsu first and was still struggling with unresolved feelings, he would not have misjudged the situation. Looking at Wobin, he said that if he had known all of this earlier, before he and Minsu began dating, he would have stepped aside and given Wobin a chance, as he should have. However, things didn't turn out that way because, by the time he knew, he was already deeply involved with Minsu and couldn't imagine giving her up. Wobin stood silently, listening to his friend. He wished the other friend had not said anything, as things might have turned out differently. He believed he could have dealt with his emotions privately without troubling anyone. Sunjin asked if he still wanted to pursue Minsu. Wobin quietly dismissed the idea, saying he didn't want to, and had long accepted that she was with Sunjin and didn't love him in the way he loved her. He admitted that the only thing he struggled with was his lingering feelings. He mentioned that if it were easy, he would have let them go a long time ago, but it wasn't as simple as people thought. Minsu was his first love, the first woman who made his heart flutter. In his mind, he had imagined finding her, pursuing her, and making her his, but fate had other plans. Sunjin moved closer, looked into his eyes, and asked if there was anything he could do to help. He said he was willing to do anything, and if there were an antidote to erase feelings, he would risk his life to get it. Wobin smiled and told him it was his burden to carry, and that Sunjin shouldn't worry about it. He said the only person he was concerned about was Yuna. She was still young and didn't fully understand. He clarified that it wasn't that he didn't like Yuna. He wanted to return to her when he was whole, free of emotional baggage, and capable of giving himself to her completely. At that moment, he wasn't able to love her fully, even though he wanted to. Sunjin said he could explain everything to Yuna, and she would understand. Wobin laughed slightly, saying Yuna was very stubborn, and didn't want to understand that what he was doing was for both of them, not because he didn't want to be with her. Sunjin offered to talk to Yuna and promised to help her understand. Wobin smiled and thanked him. Looking around, he suggested that they drink and get drunk in revenge for those who had locked them inside. They both laughed. Sunjin looked at Wobin with a smile, happy that they had talked things out and that nothing felt awkward between them anymore. Wobin asked if he wasn't offended that he had once had feelings for his wife, and acknowledged that Sunjin would have been justified in feeling angry or upset. Sunjin shook his head, saying he wasn't offended. He trusted Wobin deeply and knew that even if Wobin had feelings, he would never act on them. He was confident enough to leave Minsu around Wobin because he trusted him not to cross boundaries. He added that if Wobin had wanted to make a move, he could have done so long ago when Sunjin and Minsu were going through issues, but he never did. Wobin smiled, appreciating how much his friend trusted him. He reached out his hand for a handshake, and Sunjin shook it, signaling that everything between them was now good. Wobin excitedly suggested they begin their vacation and said he wanted to get drunk and make impulsive decisions before returning home. He called out for the security to open the door for them.